This also, I think, maybe the first time really where we haven't had a chance to record the intro before the interview.
This is it.
So why don't we just do it right now?
Sure.
All right.
Introductions are good.
So Jeff, you're hanging out. I'm Patrick Bateman.
Peter Michaels.
Yeah.
That's the intro.
This is the road, the stage, and welcome to it.
Subscribe, like, follow, share.
And you're subscribing to the Communal Creative Studios YouTube channel, in case any listeners were unaware somehow after over 90 episodes. But anyways.
Might be our best intro ever.
How are you, man? Thanks for hanging out.
Doing well. How about you guys?
Yeah, it's been good.
It's good. I love the decor. Do we play those frequently? Are they just hanging there? What's the deal?
So the Rickenbacker guitar, that's kind of been retired. I've been told that it's too small for my body. That'll be more of a recording session one. The bass beside it, recent acquisition, care of Peter. So I asked him to seek one out. It's a Greco from the 70s for me.
Wow.
So that one I haven't played much yet, but there will be more of that now that kicks are playing again. And then the other one, that's been my bass kind of since I got back into that. So that was last August that I got that guy.
So when you can play them, what are you most comfortable with? Bass, the 6-string, acoustic?
I prefer guitar. Like that's definitely, I like to write with guitar, and I play guitar in Mr. Rabbit as well. But bass is always fun. Bass is fun because like the guitar, it's got 6 strings. It's hard to make sound good. Bass is like a little, you can have a little bit more fun with the bass. So I would say like in a live, jam, like a live setting, I'm more comfortable with bass, but with guitar, it's just like singing as well. So much to concentrate on. That's something that I've always struggled with.
Do you notice it all? And I'm just thinking of this, like facial expressions, different facial expressions depending on if you're on bass or 6-string? Because
it's the same.
It's the same one, yeah.
Yes.
Are you thinking of someone specifically, like
no,
the
not even,
bass player from Haim?
No.
Oh my God! Do you know what I'm talking about, Jeff?
Yeah.
Her facial expressions when she's like totally locked in is one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
And what's the look like?
I'm not gonna.
Okay.
Fucking do it here.
Just look it up. It's just a massive like.
I was just thinking like.
Bass.
Yeah. Bass.
Typically speaking, there's a difference because with 6-string, it's usually a little bit more of an angry, strained kind of, like bared teeth. Whereas with the bass, it's usually just kind of mellow and chill.
I do the bared teeth. Yeah, for both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you practiced recently?
Yeah.
Just the facial expressions.
Oh, no.
Just in the mirror.
Okay. I was about to say, I practice every week. Yeah. Yeah, the facial expressions. Yeah, I practice those every week.
Let's take it back, and I think we should also note that, as far as I know, this is the first time we've had the filling of a musical family on the show.
I was just going to, I don't think we've had
siblings
on the show before either.
Nor cousins.
Do you count? We had Jordan and Kylie from the Beaches.
Oh yeah.
So this could
we're not going to count it.
Not count it. Nope.
Yeah, okay. This is totally separate.
Totally
episode.
separate.
Totally
yep, exactly.
Thing.
But and I don't know if you're aware of this, and I did bring it up in our interview last year with your brother, but it would have been just over 10 years ago now that I had my first ever radio interview at SAIT in Calgary with the two of you.
Yeah.
Which I remember very fondly because it was the first time I'd actually was getting a chance to see you guys after listening to you for so many years, because you were touring through Alberta with the Glorious Sons.
Yeah.
The other thing I remember is finishing the interview and a couple days later going through it and being like, God, I don't know if I can use it. I don't know if I can air any of this. This is heavy duty shit.
Candid.
Yeah, we like to be candid. We do like to do that. Yeah.
But anyways, shortly after that, I guess a year or two, you guys played your final TK show at the Horseshoe, right? Was that 2014 or 15?
That was 2015.
Okay.
Yeah,
and then what did you do, man? Because like you had a project going for a minute, from what I remember, right? What was that called?
Yeah, that was Secret Satanist. So
right, yeah.
I started that up. I think I honestly, I don't even know if I wrote any of those songs while kicks were going, like maybe like near the like far tail end of that.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wrote those, demoed them a bunch like on my own. I did most of the bass, the drums. I just programmed and did that on my own, and linked up with Conrad, who plays in Darling Congress, Teenage Kicks now. So he played the drums on the first EP that we put out, and then I was fortunate enough to bring in a guy named Riley, who plays with Single Mothers now. He plays bass in Single Mothers.
Okay.
So he joined as the drummer, and he's just this incredible, I mean, he's a kid to me, but he's whatever. I think he's got to be 30 now. But I met Riley when he was younger, and he's just this incredible, guy who never owned a drum kit in his life, and he comes and tries out, and he's just like, yep, got him, got the songs. I'm like, okay, sure, we'll go with it. And then played with a guy named Jared McIntyre. So we recorded, we put out an LP. We recorded, I think, 11 or 12 songs, and did a little bit, played some shows and stuff like that. But it was just so close to Teenage Kicks. I think I was hoping for a lot more than what actually came out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of near the tail end of that project, I ended up starting to work for the company that I still work for now. So over 6 years later, and it was just kind of starting out, and there were very few of us. And I was like, you know what, I think I should maybe direct my attention to this.
Yeah.
Instead of the music right now. And it's served me well, but ultimately, I think when this band started, so when Mr. Rabbit started, it was just right before the pandemic, and I was just,
okay.
I want to start playing music again. I've taken a long enough break from it that I feel like I really just need it in my life. But yeah, I mean, the Secret Satanist stuff, I'm still proud of. I still listen to it on occasion, and proud of what we did, and proud of, what we put out in the time that we did. But yeah, just it didn't catch on like I hoped it would.
Yeah, that's fair. But it also seemed, and based on our conversation with Pete last year, and just knowing the two of you a little bit over the years, is that that time off was probably extremely valuable.
Yeah,
for many reasons.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it gives you a new perspective.
Yeah.
And I mean, how I feel about playing music now is totally different than how I felt about playing music then. Then I felt like music owed me something.
Right.
And it's totally the opposite. It's like, no, it's a privilege that I can play music. And, now I do it with, a full-time job, and just basically any time that I have outside of that. And obviously, I have a wife, I have 2 dogs. I have a lot of things going on in my life, and it's music is just another priority there. I just want to do it as much as I can, because like I said, it's a privilege. Music doesn't owe me shit.
Well, I'm glad you came back to it, man.
In that time that you were focused on the job, did you keep your hands in the music at all? Did you just let those instruments sit for those 5-6 years, or were you?
Yeah, basically. I kept, I had an acoustic, and I kept an electric, and maybe 1 or 2 pedals. But I mean, we were also, one of the great things about before the before time, when I was living with Peter, we lived in, a house together in the West End of Toronto, and the rent was super cheap. We were paying $400 a month. We had our studio and jam space in the basement, and it was easy. It was easy to just go downstairs. You could record something. We always had, our drum set. We had our all of our amps, everything ready to go. And then my wife and I moved in together, and now we're in a 1-bedroom apartment in Toronto, and we've got, people above us, people below us, and writing songs is such a personal thing. It's just me writing with her in the next room. That was tough, right? We hadn't been together for that long, and it's, thinking about opening up to the person in the next room. Well, what about the fucking people that are
below and above you?
No better instant feedback than, hey, shut the fuck up on the wall.
Exactly.
Okay, nope, not this one.
Exactly. So, I lost a little bit of the space to be able to create. so that kind of came out, again, like I said, like right before COVID is when I started writing again, and just having, I had, a backlog of a few songs that I basically, reached out to a few guys at work and was like, hey, do you guys want to start a band? I have these songs that we can start with and other ones that I'm writing. But yeah, I mean, I didn't really touch anything for probably, 2 or 3 years.
Solid healing period.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like, can you write around your wife now? Like, it feels like you guys have a very good collaborative relationship, just based on what I've seen on social media.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're still working on that piece of things. Not to say that we, get in fights with each other, but it's like we're both artists who have things in our mind, right? Of like, I want it to be this way, and if I suggest something, maybe she doesn't take it the way that I would hope, or the opposite effect. Right. So we have been working on the, I'm assuming you're referring to the, the Your Name is Wild project. So basically right now with that, it's, I'm doing, most of the music, and then she's doing kind of the art and videos to go along with that. So we've got another one of those records that's basically done. That'll come out in May. And then, yeah, she's done our pictures, our videos, and those are kind of collaborative as well. But like I said, she's an artist in her own right. And so now it's kind of collaborative because she doesn't have the time, and hey, there's not a lot of money. So there's a little bit of that too. So we've got a few more things to kind of sort through that we got another video to put out that I'm going to edit. But yeah, I mean, it's weird working collaboratively with anyone, let alone the person that you're married to.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we're working on it, but I think it's going well.
I think you still, if you are working to that extent so much together, whether it's professionally, personally, whatever it is, like, yeah, I think you're still owed a certain space to maintain your vulnerability without exposing it to those around you, no matter how close they are.
And I mean, that's like, to kind of answer your question, in a bit of a long way around it. It's like, yeah, it's still tough. It is still tough for me because, my songs are about my life.
Yeah.
Right. And there's obviously things that Laura doesn't know about my life, not for, any specific purpose, but it's like, yeah. It's sometimes things come out, and the last thing that you want to think about is that you're writing a lyric and the person in the next room is like, oh, that must be about me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
have you ever written something and then backtracked on it a little bit, thinking, no, I can't expose this?
Not really. Like, we are pretty open, but like when anyone, like, that's an old song, right? So I've been playing that song for years. And whenever I used to play it, she used to be like, I don't like it when you play that song, because the chorus is, sometimes I wish I couldn't love anyone.
Yeah.
And it's like, obviously that song's not about her, but yeah, I don't know. It's just like people can interpret it. And I think, I'm lucky that Laura's quite, she knows that I would be open and honest about something if there was something bothering me.
She's not going to hear about it in a song first.
No, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Well, which happens surprisingly a lot,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. As an outsider looking in and just kind of, like I say, scoping through your social media, her social media, it looks great. Like, I just assumed that you guys had this wonderful, awesome collaborative relationship. Yeah. And work really well with each other. So.
I'll teach you to assume again.
No,
I couldn't have been further from the truth.
It's not that it's not collaborative. I think I always just look on I look at the glass half full perspective. I'm like obviously super grateful for the relationship that we have, and for us being able to do what we've done together and what we'll continue to do.
That's beautiful. Can you say that about your own partnership?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Actually,
good answer.
I can say she's not going to watch this. I can really say whatever I wanted to right now.
Is that a Cape Fear sweater, not a t-shirt?
It is, yeah.
Where did you cop that?
That is from an Instagram Das Bootleg.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I think actually this one might be the like Scorpion home video that branch of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got this and I got the Heat t-shirt.
Oh, dude, I got to show you. My
nice.
buddy sent me this package for my birthday in January, and it
Yeah.
was a pullover gray hoodie, gym shorts, like Champion gym shorts,
Yeah.
and a keychain. And on the back of the sweater, on the front of the hoodie, it says 1995. Front of the gym shorts, it says 1995.
Yeah.
And then on the back of the hoodie and the other leg of the pants, I thought I had my keychain. It says the action is the juice,
Oh,
which is a Tom Sizemore quote from Heat.
that's it.
I was like, holy fuck. It's the comfiest sweater and gym shorts I've ever had, and they've got Heat quotes
Yeah.
on them. Come on, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Sick.
fucking awesome.
R.I.P.
I know.
R.I.P.
I know.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
just, I think 2 Christmases ago, and it was fantastic. It was a rite of passage. Some of my youngest son would have been 14. Ethan then would have been like maybe 18, 17. Anyways, we watched that like 2 Christmases ago as
Yeah.
just like a little father-son bond.
Did they enjoy it?
Loved.
Yeah.
Yeah, loved.
It's an incredible movie.
One of the
Timeless.
best.
Timeless.
That's like our go-to is like action movies from the 90s, 80s, sometimes 70s, depending on what it is. Yeah, that's like our go-to. Peter, he's into he likes like the Marvel movies and shit like that. I'm never gonna watch those.
Yeah, no,
It's really good. I'm not gonna watch it, man.
yeah, I got to catch up on 35 goddamn movies from the last 12 years. I think I'm
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, exactly. No, I gotta
And
watch
TV shows now?
I held in for a while, but I've tapped now. Like it's too
Yeah.
much.
No,
Yeah.
it's I'm the same way with my girlfriend. Heat is a good example of one where like a couple times in the last few years it's been like, well, nah, it's not been long enough. Like it's only been a couple of months or a few months. Like
And it's
okay.
an investment. Like
Yeah, it's a good
time. It's a
near
good time
3-hour
investment. Yeah.
investment, but
Yeah.
one of the best emotional investments in film as far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned.
Yeah. I mean, it's just mind-boggling to me that like Robert De Niro in it is incredible
Mhm.
and Al Pacino is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
Like he is just, I can swear, right? I've been swearing.
Oh, 100%.
Shit.
Okay.
Lots of editing.
Yeah. It's like some of those Al Pacino scenes are just, oh,
Well, it's also
man.
amazing to me that, like, I think it was 2 years ago, because I think they're celebrating the 30th, or no, it wouldn't be 30th if it was 95. Maybe it was 25th or something. And
Yeah.
Pacino said, like, oh, yeah, no, my character was very much on cocaine.
Yeah.
He was doing a lot of cocaine. No one knew that? That seemed pretty obvious to me. And it's like, oh, yeah, that is a really good point.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I actually recently showed my partner Midnight Run for the first time.
Oh yeah.
You seen
I haven't
Midnight
seen
Run,
Midnight
Jeff? Man,
No.
What is that? That's 87?
87 maybe. De Niro and Charles Grodin.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it's like a 2.5 hour
okay.
De Niro Grodin cross country kind of trip. It's
I remember,
really,
Grodin's
really good.
Like a pretty straight-laced guy that gets charged with a crime,
Yeah,
and
kind of.
De Niro's
kind
got
of.
a
He's a
haul him in.
yeah. De Niro's a bail bondsman
Bail
or
bondsman,
something
right,
like
right,
that.
Okay.
Yeah, well worth
Yeah, that
your
one's
time.
worth it for sure.
Okay. I'll have to add it to the list.
Yeah, you might have another shirt after you watch it. You never know.
I never thought that in 2023, like my passion would be bootleg T-shirts for old movies.
Well,
And they're
so
so expensive too, man.
oh god damn it. Our
Because they're coming from the States.
our
like-
producer, our video producer Riley is like pretty into the vintage clothing. And he's
Oh,
got like
yeah.
an original run shirt from Cats.
Oh,
They found at a Value Village in Red Deer, if I'm not mistaken, of all
Nice.
places.
nice.
Crazy steal.
Those treasures are out there.
Yeah.
When did you get into or decide that these old movies were your thing?
Honestly, like that was from when we started dating. Like Laura and I, I think we watched Running Man. That was one of
Oh,
the first
wow.
movies that we watched together. And for some reason, I can't remember why, but it was like, it was the version that I downloaded was 2 screens.
What?
Yeah, it was, I don't know why. And Laura didn't have a TV. And so we just watched it on our laptop on these like it was just 2 screens for some reason.
That's really funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why. Just kind of happened that way.
The
That's
joys
just
of torrenting.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and how, like, are we talking like all the Schwarzeneggers, all the Stallones? Like, are we talking Lethal Weapons?
Not Lethal Weapons. We haven't watched any of the Lethal Weapons, I think, just because of the whole Mel Gibson thing. But yeah, I mean, all the Schwarzeneggers, a little bit of Stallone, like definitely Schwarzenegger, De Niro, Nick Cage, like those are the kind of faves for sure.
What's the best Arnold movie?
I mean, we love Total Recall. Terminator 2.
I always forget about those ones somehow. I just go straight to Predator. I just go straight to Predator.
You forgot about Terminator?
Great.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, Predator's great too. I mean, he's got so many good ones. Trying to think of what else. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly,
Raw Deal? Did you ever watch
Kindergarten Cop?
Raw Deal?
We have not watched Kindergarten Cop, but I do know the quote. It's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
Yeah. No, Raw Deal. I don't know if we've seen that one.
What is it?
Raw Deal. He's it's a mid '80s, so it's against the Russians. I think
Like
he's
a war movie, or
not a war movie, but I think he's, if I remember correctly, he's like a spy or something that goes. Anyways, it's been honestly
every second Arnold movie then basically. Yeah.
I haven't watched it probably since 1984. What about Nick Cage?
Nick Cage. I'm trying to think of what. Face Off.
Face Off. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. No. There's not. I don't know. I had to think about that.
Yeah.
Leaving Las Vegas doesn't fit the action profile.
Las Vegas is a great movie.
Oh yeah, truly is.
Yeah. It is an incredible movie.
I was really sick a few months ago. Had to take a couple days off at work. I was just on the couch or in bed at home for a couple days, and for some reason I watched Lord of War. Do you remember that?
No.
It's like an early 2000s Nick Cage movie where he plays like an arms dealer. It's actually the guy that the U.S. just traded back to Russia for that basketball player.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Interesting.
And it's not very good, but I was sick. I don't know. When I'm sick, I watch really stupid shit.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
You got to do something.
Yeah, you're right.
I was just sick too. I watched the Beatles get back from
Like I
start
said,
to finish in one day.
shit.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
9 hours or 8 hours.
Did you rewatch that?
That was a rewatch. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
That's dedication.
Yeah, that is.
All right. So the new record from Mr. Rabbit is out in, the point of this episode, it'll be out in a couple days.
Yeah.
The 30th, right?
Yeah, 30th. Yeah.
Congrats. End of History Illusion.
Mm-hmm.
And now Mr. Rabbit is not exclusively your band? Or is it?
No. Yeah. No, it's a band. It's
Okay.
just a band with these guys. So we actually did, our drummer just quit last month. So there's 3 of us currently.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's myself, Mitch Clark, Sean Smith, and Jake Dunn was the drummer. And I think we got a new guy. I think we got a guy sorted out.
Was it a surprise resignation?
Yes and no.
Cool.
I won't get too deep into it, but it's like, at this point, like when you're this age and you're playing in a band and it's not like your job to play in a band, it's hard.
Yeah.
Like you have to love it.
Yeah.
You have to love it because you're sacrificing, at least once a week. Like I want us to practice at least once a week. We've got a jam space that costs money. We've probably spent 10 grand to make this record out of our own pockets. And it's like, if it's not something that you really love, then you're not going to continue to do it. And so that's, I think that kind of sums it up.
Yep, that's fair.
Without, and we can cut if whatever, so his drumming is on the album? So do plans have to be put in place? Does he have to give permission for you to still use that?
No. Like Jake is like, I work with Jake.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's still our buddy and all that stuff. There's nothing there's no bad blood there or anything like that. It's, he played on the record. He's still going to get, he's still going to get credited for everything. And like everything is split 4 ways. So there's no change there. And yeah, I mean, he did a great job. Like I said, like Jake is one of the guys that I, reached out to when I was listening to those songs, and
Right.
we collaboratively worked on, every song on this record.
Well, both of us had an early sneak preview of the album, which again, out March 30th. I love it.
I love it. And I will say,
Do you love it?
Like, I think I've seen it. I've read it a couple of times where you said you wanted it to sound like Spoon, but you're not sure it ended up sounding like Spoon.
Just that one song. Just
the one. Okay.
Which song?
Yeah. Anyone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm super proud of it. I've never really been, I would say, in a project that has been this collaborative. So Mitch played in Keegan's band, Keegan Powell's band. So Mitch played drums for him for a little bit and played guitar kind of the tail end of his time in it. And this was the first time, I think, since Mitch was in high school, or maybe like early 20s, that he'd actually played guitar in a band. So Mitch has always played guitar, and he just never played guitar in a band because drummers are hard to find. And so I just thought, well, I think this is someone that I could align with. And so it's been great to kind of collaborate with Mitch on things. It's been very much when we were in the studio, he asked what the chords for the chorus of one of the songs were, and the producer, Jeff, he was like, you really are a lead guitarist. Like, you're just playing the leads. It's like, yeah. So he's, it's been great to work with him on that. And I think, for the time allotted and the time that we've been able to put into it, I'm super proud of it. There are two old songs on there, Subtle Tribute and Anyone are both songs that were written, 8 or 9 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But everything else was written, within the last 3 years.
So you'd mentioned Secret Satanist didn't quite take off like you had hoped it would have. Were there lessons learned that you can take from that and throw into this project to make sure it maybe does get?
I mean, I think I just kind of removed the expectation.
Yeah.
It just felt better to be like, let's just do this because, like I said, like, we're lucky to be able to make music. Yeah. And to A, have the time, B, have the resources, and then C, have the skills to be able to make music. And so I just, kind of removed the expectation. And, understanding that you still have to, like, we're going to do it and we have to put money in, or else, like, we can't, if we're going to put the money in to make the recording, Peter mixed it, but to go to a proper studio, get a producer, like, and then, pay for practice spaces on a weekly basis. Like, if we're going to spend the money to do that, then we have to spend a bit of money to promote it as well. Mm-hmm. So we're doing that stuff too. Like, we're not just throwing it into the ether and hoping that, we become mega millionaires. Like, that's not the intention. But yeah, I just kind of removed the expectation of, hey, this is going to do something. Like, it'd be nice if it did, but it's also nice to just, play music with your friends and put out something that you're proud of.
You said that Pete mixed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've had, what, 15 plus years experience playing with your brother? Does that add up? Is it more?
No, probably more than that.
You think it's 20?
We were in Cain and Abel. I was 16.
Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, almost 20 years.
Did you guys, I mean, you're bringing him in to work on your project. Mm-hmm. Did you approach it any differently than you two may have in your previous creative collaborations?
I think that there's definitely, like, Peter's, Peter, I think we've both changed a lot. Mm-hmm. I credit Peter for 99% of my growth as a musician, as a songwriter, as a singer. because Peter's always incredibly harsh. He does not mince words, and that's just the way it is. And I had to get used to it. Like, it used to really bother me when I was writing songs when I was in, my early 20s, mid 20s. I'm writing songs and the song sucked. And Peter would tell me, like, that's not good. Or like, your vocals aren't good. Like, you need to try and sing a different way. Or like, you're not hitting the notes that you want to hit. And so one of the songs that we did, Subtle Tribute, he was mixing it, and he was basically like, he's like, I don't know if this vocal take is it. He's like, I think you should redo those vocals. And he was basically like, I'll do it for free. Like, let's just go. We'll go to Matt Snell's. He's like, we'll just take 2 hours. We'll do it. And Laura and I actually had, this is a little bit of a sidebar. We had to go to the city to bring one of our dogs to model for Canada Pooch.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So we went and did that, and that was, that's one of the other joys of my life. But we went and did that, and then she came to the studio, and I'm in there doing, takes, and Peter's just like, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. And we, Laura and I leave the studio, and I was like, she was like, oh, he was, he's pretty like harsh. And I was like, that's the way that it works. And it does work though.
Yeah.
It's like, he's not saying it to hurt my feelings.
No.
He's saying it because he wants the best product.
Yeah.
And so when we sent him the first batch of songs, because we did it in 2 parts, we did 5 songs and then 6 songs. So 5 songs in February of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And the last 6 songs in September of 2022. He sent me a few mixes at first, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if this is really like the vibe. Like, can we do it a little bit more like this, a little bit more like this? And we got there, with the first song. The first song that he mixed was We Thank God.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, that batch was easier, and there was, only a few things to kind of tinker with. And then the second batch, he was like, you guys were much better as a band. And so it was even easier for me to mix. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I think the other piece of it too is, kind of removing that ego piece of like how I think I want us to be perceived, and the kind of band that I think that we should be perceived as. It's music, and no one else is going to be thinking about it as much as I am.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like it just got to a point where I was like, yeah, you know what? Like, these are the songs that I write. If this is the mix that, showcases those songs in the best manner, then this is the right mix.
Right.
And I should also have another sidebar there saying that Mitch wrote that song Meanie
Mm-hmm.
on the record. So that's his tune, and I was super, super appreciative of him, letting me sing that and letting us play that as a band, because that's another thing that, I ran into in the past with Peter, where it was like, wow, this is my song. And then he was like, well, I'm going to sing it. And, I took that in a certain way that I shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's like, it's your baby, right? These songs are your baby. And so when someone can come to the rest of the band and be like, hey, let's do this song, and you can sing my lyrics and you can sing my melodies, like,
yeah.
that's a pretty big deal.
Well,
so
yeah, it's your baby, and then it's also your family.
Yeah.
And not everyone in your position is experiencing that.
Yeah.
And
sure.
like, I know with one of my brothers, like, we could say, hey, how are you? And if one of us is in the wrong mood, you hear that as, fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
exactly.
yeah, like, obviously dropping the ego or tempering it is insanely important. But yeah, it's it's important to realize that the critique is not sibling rivalry or personal attacks.
And
is it creative, constructive?
Is it maturation that gets you to the point where you can accept that? Is it just the experience of having been through it and gone through some tougher times that leads you to the point where you can kind of hash it out better?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it, well, partially Peter and I have had our, ups and downs since Kix broke up. But I think we're past that now. But it's just like, I think it all just comes back to like just being appreciative once again for being able to play music.
Yeah.
And, on the other side of that, it's just like, it's also not that big of a fucking deal. Like it is music. There's billions of songs out there,
Yeah.
like, it's like, yeah, it's just music.
But again, it's so tough to get to that point, right? Like, I think you don't get to that point without going through all of the other shit
for sure
to get to the point where you're like, you know what? It wasn't worth what we did, how it went down back then.
Yeah.
Let's just let this go a little bit.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I was actually, Christian was over on the weekend. Christian, who plays in Teenage Kicks as well, and Christian Turner, he has his own project. And he was, another guy that, like, back in the Kicks days, like, Christian literally disappeared. Like, he was like, this is a long story, but I'll try and keep it short. We went down to New York. So basically, I had quit the band, and Pat, our guitarist, had quit the band. And we played a show in Toronto at Lee's Palace. That was going to be our last Toronto show, so the Live at Lee's. And then we were going down to New York to play this show for CMJ. And everyone had a good time. We had a good show in New York, and we went and saw Big Pink on the way back. Cool. And it was like, had a great day. But for some reason, we got into a massive fucking argument on the way home. And after that, Christian just disappeared. And so that went into Pat rejoining, me rejoining, and then Pat leaving again. Basically just like, it was a mutual decision from him and Peter being like, this isn't going to work. And then Keegan joining.
Right.
So Christian disappeared for like 3 or 4 months, and then was basically like, hey, do you think I can come and get my gear? And just a lot of that stuff came from, music being the only thing that we had at that point.
Yeah.
Right? Like, our life depended on the band, and everything that we were supposed to do was supposed to serve the band. And so when everything is kind of like, everything is such high stakes, like at that time, we're trying to quote unquote make it. And so every single fucking show we play is like, oh, this person's going to be there. And so this could be it. This could be it.
Yeah. And
it's just like, everything's so high stake and high pressure that all of these egos get involved. And now that we're, at the ages that we're at, and everybody has their own projects, right? Everybody has their own projects that they're working on outside of Kicks. It's like, it's just not that serious. Mm-hmm. It's just fun to be around each other. We don't have time. And so when we get to jam with each other, it's like, oh shit, we're just hanging out. We're hanging out. We're getting to play music at the same time. And it's just like, I think you don't realize that when you're a kid, because you have all the time in the world, I mean, we weren't kids, we were in our 20s, but it was like still easy, didn't have mortgages, didn't have full-time jobs. Like, we were just,
But you did have expectations.
Yeah, we did have expectations. Yeah. Expectations of greatness. That's what this record was going to be called.
And then back in August was the first Darling Congress show at the Horseshoe.
Yeah.
Mr. Rabbit also played.
Yeah.
And a surprise Teenage Kicks set.
Yeah. You missed the Mr. Rabbit set.
I did miss the Mr. Rabbit set. I was not happy about that, but anyways.
Is there a story behind that at least?
Yeah, I was with, I was home for 2 weeks, and I was with my youngest brother, my partner, Kayla, and then our friend, Steve and Jerica. And they had driven in a couple hours for the show, and we had some time to kill, so we ended up bowling and then go-karting, and then it was like, oh, fuck. Go-karting took way too long. We got to get downtown. And that's how it happened.
I don't know. Hey. How does that excuse sit with you?
That's fine.
Bowling?
Yeah. That's
Mr. Rabbit?
To be fair, the bowling was at like 2 p.m. So
great.
What was it like playing that set? Like, did you have any hesitations, or like, I'm assuming you guys had to practice a couple times at least before that set in secret and privacy?
Yeah. So, I mean, when Peter first brought it up to me, like Peter had kind of like floated the idea a few times, but it was always like, let's do it in secret. Let's not tell anyone
Yeah.
about it. Like, I don't know why it has to be like that, but basically, he had the idea and was like, I think, Christian was just going to be at the show because we had reconnected with him.
Right.
And so he was like, yeah, I'll be there. And then Peter's playing with Conrad. So, we can make that work because Conrad used to drum for us on occasion. And yeah, it was just kind of like, do we want to do this? Do we want to do these 6 songs? And we, got into the room together and it just felt right.
It looked right.
Like, thanks.
Like Christian especially, because that was the first time he'd been on stage in years, right?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, he plays with some cover bands and stuff like
Right.
that. But yeah, like doing his thing for sure.
It was really, really cool to be able
Yeah.
to see that, not totally know what we were getting into that night. It was because I didn't figure out that anagram or whatever the hell you call him.
Casey Keen's.
No
Yeah,
idea.
a lot of people didn't figure that out. That was Pete's dumb idea. Quite funny, but
It was very cool to see because and again I was didn't catch Mr. Rabbit, but knowing that you had already been on stage, you were playing music, knowing that Pete's putting out his solo record and that's really good. Got to see Keegan play guitar for the first time, which was really, really cool. And then for that to happen with all of you together and just, I don't know, the vibe was very, very cool.
Yeah, it just felt, like I said, like we just got back into the room together and it just felt right.
Yeah.
Just like we, not to toot our own horns, but it's like we sounded good and like we didn't sound like a band who hadn't played together for
No, of course not. Yeah.
for 7 years. Like we didn't sound like that. And so it was just kind of, I think we only jammed twice before we did that. And yeah, I don't know, just kind of getting the response from people. It was like, oh, people want to see this.
Mm-hmm.
People want to see this. And I don't know if you're going to talk about the reunion show or not, if you want me to skip ahead to that. But basically, like just being in that room, we sold it out. So, there's almost 500 people there who this is what they want.
Yes. Yeah.
Like to be a part of that is incredible. And like, really just once again, just so lucky to be able to have that attention from people and, to have people come out, a lot of people don't live in Toronto anymore, to come out to the Horseshoe on a Friday night and be out until, 12:30 a.m. Hey, we're older guys now too. Like that's not something that is like hugely appealing to us. But yeah, just to have people, show that interest and want to sing along with us and want to be a part of it was huge.
Yeah.
So, and again, nobody knew the Teenage Kicks reunion was happening as part of that, right?
Not in the August show.
In the August show, right?
Yeah. Then we
At the
kind
Darling
of
Congress show. Yeah.
Yeah, not at the Darling Congress show. So what we did kind of after that was we were like, okay, so are we going to keep doing this? And then if so, what's next?
Mm-hmm.
And then, with that, we had to talk to Cam about it, the original drummer, because obviously he was a massive part of that band.
Yeah.
And so basically what we came to kind of agree upon was that he was going to play half the set for this reunion show, and then Conrad would play the other half of the set. Cam, unfortunately, lives in Kincardine in Ontario, which is like a good 2.5, 3 hours north of everywhere else.
Yeah.
And he works weekends. And so it was just like, we're not going to be able to continue this with you as much as we would like to.
Mm-hmm.
But would you like to be a part of this show? And,
Yeah.
and thankfully we said yes. So we got to spend some more time with Cam and it was the same thing. Got into the room with him and I mean, I don't know how much everyone else practiced, but I was practicing a lot. I wanted to make sure that it was good. And that's the great thing about being in a band with like-minded individuals is that everybody wants to be good. So, no one's going to come and shit the bed. So, yeah, No, it was great. It was great to be able to connect with him again.
Yeah, it's funny because, reflecting on that show in August, um, up until now, really, honestly, I've thought about it purely selfishly in that, oh, this is an experience that I
Hmm.
had with these people in my life that were also there in
Hmm.
2015. It's a very
Hmm.
special, sentimental moment. But yeah, thinking about it selfishly, I completely ignore the fact that what it might feel like for you guys to play to that many people on a whim essentially and still have people excited about it and singing songs that are how many years old, blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah.
for
Like
sure.
that's got to be pretty nice, very validating.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's amazing. And I mean, I think it's, it's a testament to Peter and his songwriting more than anything. Peter, I don't know if you guys had a chance to read that article that
Oh,
Mac
fuck. I keep forgetting. Yeah, not yet. Not yet. Yeah, yeah.
the article that Mac wrote about him in Dominionated,
Hmm.
and I think Peter's just an incredibly underappreciated songwriter. Obviously, I have a bias because he's my brother, but he's A, incredibly prolific, but B, like consistent.
Yeah.
He's written so many good songs. And, I think, I mean, the fact that he's in the Suns now, I think is also, that's a little bit of vindication for him. Because obviously the Suns are, one of the biggest bands in Canada. Brett, writes incredible songs. And so to kind of be able to be a part of that is amazing for him, and also expands his reach so that people can listen to his back catalog. But yeah, I mean he's just an incredible songwriter, and to kind of see that, yeah, it was, I think, validation on that front too for us to come back 7-8 years later and still have people be excited about it.
Yeah, it's great, man. That's super cool.
Yeah.
That's good. And you can't take it for granted.
I think I need some closure. Did we find out what Christian did for those 3 months that he was missing for? Is there like
I
a
don't
book or a movie coming out on those
Yeah,
3 months or?
I think that's TBD. Yeah. Yeah. You should have him on the show. Ask him about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I know. I think that's TBD. I don't know.
I was thinking about it earlier today. We've now had both of the VH brothers on the show. How could we possibly go further? Your dad used to play music, right?
He still does. We've actually got, we went there in, we went there over the Family Day weekend, and
Out to G-Town?
no, he's up in Angus.
Oh wow!
So
Oh wow! Okay.
Peter and I grew up in Acton.
Right, right.
And after we moved out, my mom moved out east. My dad had already moved up, like kind of just south of Barrie. So he's actually in New Lowell now. But his wife, it's her 70th birthday soon-ish, but they're gonna have a party for her next year. And she's requested that we play.
Nice.
So we've got a list of about 30 songs that we're gonna learn, and he's got a buddy that he works with sometimes. He's a drummer, so we were putting the list together and playing those songs. Have you guys heard the album that we did with him?
No.
We did an EP with him.
When
Yeah.
was this?
2017, I think.
Oh, maybe. What?
Yeah, it was called Van Helvoort.
I think I do barely remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's an incredible singer. He's not much of a guitarist, unfortunately. But he started playing really late. Like, I don't know who picks up a guitar at like, late 20s, and
Right.
It's just, my dad is just suddenly able to sing. He's just got, like when you listen to music from like the 60s and 70s, like the Spencer Davis Trio or something like that. And you listen to these guys and they have these like fully formed man voices, but they're like not even out of their teens yet. Like I think he was just one of those. And he just has this voice where like he can hit high notes, but it doesn't sound like he's hitting high notes.
Right.
I don't know if you guys are Guided by Voices fans, but it's almost like Robert Pollard level.
All right.
Like
all right.
that's what it reminds me of. He's just got an incredible voice that I think Peter and I have forever tried to, hopefully we inherit one day.
Well, maybe
But, yeah.
maybe we'll get him on the show.
Get him on
That would be the trifecta.
VH
We definitely
trifecta,
won't have
yeah.
had anybody's dad on the show. That's for. Have you got the list of songs that they want you to do for this 70th? Like, do you?
Well, I mean, we're picking the songs.
You're picking
yeah,
them. Okay.
Into
Yeah,
the
we're
void.
Yeah, we're doing some heavy Sabbath stuff for sure. And no, we're doing we've got Solitary Man by Neil Diamond.
Mm.
My dad does a great Solitary Man. We're gonna do some REM. We've got Man on the Moon there, Losing My Religion, maybe One I Love as well. And Tom Petty, we're going to do Mary Jane's Last Dance. You Don't Know How It Feels. Do some Stones. We'll do Dead Flowers. Yeah. It's all that kind of stuff.
We've brought this up before, but it's like a 70th birthday party now
Yeah.
is so much fucking cooler than imagining a 70th birthday like even 20, 30 years ago.
Yep.
You would have been saying Lawrence Welk and,
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Some Blue Rodeo too. Like I grew up on Blue Rodeo. They were my favorite band when I was a kid. So it's nice to kind of revisit these songs. And like, I never learned a lot of songs when I was younger. So it's nice to, learn some new progressions and just, see how the greats did it.
Dig back a little bit. See what you may have been missing out on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
what would you
fun.
want played at your 70th birthday in a couple of years?
Ouch. Actually, that's pretty accurate. That's pretty accurate. Well, I mean, like I'm an 80s kid, so it would all be, we get some Rat.
Oh, some Rat.
We get
Skid
some
Row?
Judas. We get some Judas Priest. Sure, some Skid Row.
Okay.
Interesting. What about you? What about you, Patrick?
For my 70th? Well, I've always said I had a high school teacher that joked with us about how his funeral song is going to be "Comfortably Numb" by Pink Floyd.
Okay, yeah.
So I'd probably do all songs related to death and impending doom and mortality, something like that.
Nice.
I don't know.
Wow, that's going to be such an uplifting party. I can't wait for the invitation.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll be long gone by then since I've got 30 years. I got 30 years on you.
You're singing. No, I don't know. I'd have to think about that, though. I would probably just struggle really hard to pick my 30 favorite songs.
Yeah.
And I'd start preparing that list at 65.
Right
and it would change a lot.
I'd hit retirement. Hopefully at 65. We'll see. It might be more like 80 by the time that rolls around. I'd retire at 65 and then spend the next 5 years very carefully, meticulously honing down my 70th birthday party list.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'll start sending you ideas, though.
I was just going to say, you're not joking either. I can totally see it going down that way.
I've already picked out the top 5. Now, a little, do you mind talking about your work?
Yeah.
Do you work in the craft brew business?
Yeah. So we're an aluminum beverage can distributor. So we've actually got a location in Calgary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So work with a lot of breweries, not exclusively breweries, but basically we do like decorated cans, so labeled cans, and then also full truckload cans. So like printed cans.
Mm-hmm.
For higher volumes, and then we also have mobile canning trucks that go out and package at breweries.
Holy shit!
Nice.
I didn't know that was. Is that a thing here? Are you familiar with that?
There's a couple breweries that, like obviously some of the smaller ones that don't have the capacity to have their own canning machine. So there's a few out here that utilize mobile canning. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we basically, like, our headquarters are in Vancouver, but so we've got locations in Vancouver, Calgary. I work out of the Mississauga location, and then we have a smaller location out in Ottawa as well that just does mobile canning.
And then you said when you first started working there, it was a pretty small team, right?
Yeah. There was only out of Mississauga, there was only 3 of us.
Did you
one
guys?
of them was an owner of the company.
Right. Did you have your Calgary operation set up by then?
I believe that they were getting it set up. I think that they got it set up shortly after that.
Seems like there would be a very good time to set up a business like that in Alberta.
Would you say 5-6 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, right at the boom.
Things were booming, yeah, because like that's the thing too, is that Calgary was like just kind of behind Vancouver, BC. And so things were booming at that time for sure. And also like a lot more of just beer in Alberta. Not as much, getting into RTDs and stuff like that. But I know
which is now exploding here.
Yeah.
What's an RTD?
Ready to drinks.
Oh.
Which I want to say, I forget the exact number now, but Alberta is up to, and this is all within 5 years, I think there's like probably about 120 breweries in the province now. Number might even be a little north of that.
And we went from 10 years ago in Red Deer to
6.
Yeah.
And then the immediate area's got, every small town, pretty much every small town around us has one too.
Wow. And what are some of the breweries in that area?
Well, the show's sponsored by Sawback Brewing.
Okay, I don't know if we work with
And that's the only one. Trouble Monk.
Yeah, Trouble Monk we work with for sure.
Snake Lake in Sylvan Lake. Red Deer's also got Red Heart.
Where's Blind Man?
Blind Man's out of Lacombe. Blind Man's another big one that maybe you guys have. Dark Woods and Field and Forge and Innisfail. Like it's honestly, we could probably talk the next 15 minutes about all of them.
He's the local craft. He will not ever admit it, but he's the local craft beer expert.
I enjoy beer. I would never put the word expert.
Okay, let me phrase it this way. He spent the last 4 or 5 years platforming different breweries every Friday on the radio station. I'd say that makes you a fucking expert.
Yeah. What are your favorite styles?
Well, it's fine. I get obviously that's a question
I
get a lot.
You've evolved,
but
too.
I don't know that I could necessarily probably like an India Dark.
Yeah.
Or a Cascadian Dark has kind of been the go-to.
He just said Cascadian talking about beer, and he claims he's not an expert. I don't even know what that means. Isn't that a region?
A Schwartz beer.
But like 2 years ago, would you have said those two beer choices?
Well, yeah, but 5 years ago, like right around the explosion. I mean, I was a Bud Coors guy for the longest time. Yeah. And just like the craft beer journey goes, you start off drinking your lagers and pilsners, and then you might get into the pale ales, and then you're into the IPAs, and then the double IPAs, and then you're like, well, maybe those dark ones aren't so bad after all, and you get in. Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, the only thing I don't drink on the regular would, like, sours don't really do much for me.
Okay.
But
you a big sours guy?
I would say not necessarily just like straight up sours. I don't drink that much beer anymore because I'm also trying to lose weight. So that, beer is kind of
they don't go hand in hand.
They sure don't.
Yeah. So I've gotten more into wine, and I really do like the beer wine hybrids. So kind of like the more like they're like wild ferment stuff. I like that. So it's a little bit funky, but not necessarily like super sour. A little bit lighter, but I still do like a hazy IPA. If I go somewhere, I'll probably get a hazy IPA. Like if I know it's a good brewery and, I'll probably get a hazy IPA.
I think I'm in the same boat.
And if I'm having a couple, usually it's a hazy IPA.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we actually, the sponsors for our show, Sawback Brewing, collaborated with the bar in town, the venue, Bo's, which we're running out of right now, basically, to make a gig beer.
Oh,
because
nice.
Bo's only serves craft, right?
Yep.
Exclusively craft beer from all over Alberta and Western Canada. And it's just a great $6 option, I think.
Yep.
$5, $6
$5
tall
or
can
$6. Yep.
at gigs for those of you that don't want to drink IPAs or sours.
That's a cheap beer.
And they've got two, like it's they've got a lager or like just a pretty sessionable pale as options for it. So it's really approachable. So for the common folk.
Where's the Pilsner?
Yeah.
Well, you don't need it tonight, my friend.
Crispy
This
boy.
Pilsner actually has flavor.
Yeah, the crispy boy.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I like, because I realized a couple years ago that maybe I don't actually like drinking PBR at shows, and that it's just because it's there and advertised.
Yeah.
But I do like this one, and it seems to be a much better representation of what I personally like selfishly.
Yeah.
Great.
That was my sell line with it's a beer that actually has flavor. Like what you're getting in the prepackaged, the big guy.
Yeah.
It's so watered down.
Yeah.
It's not even beer.
Yeah.
Like there's lagers and pilsners out there that are going to be very close, but they actually have flavor.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
It's a brave new world.
Yeah, it is.
After 6-7 years.
Yeah.
Do we still call it new?
Can you believe this guy 5 minutes ago tried to say he wasn't an expert?
I can't believe that.
I know the names and styles of some beers. Do we want to get into the fermentation process? Should we start working through? No?
Which you know a little bit
A little
about.
bit.
Yeah, exactly.
I've done a brewery tour or two.
Well, listen, Jeff, thank you so much for hanging out. And I mean, congrats on the record. Super glad you're putting this out. I'm excited for you and everything that Mr. Rabbit has planned for the rest of 2023, which we don't know. You have anything to mention today?
Yeah, we got 2 shows opening up for the Dirty Nil at brewery in Cambridge called Farm League Brewing, which we haven't played there yet, but looks like a really great spot. I've heard great things. So we've got those in May. That's May 19th, May 20th. They're both sold out already, which is great. To be at a sold-out show. We're like, okay, sure, we'll take it. And probably by this time, we should be announcing we'll have a show at this great place in St. Catharines, Ontario called the Niagara Artist Center, the NAC.
Cool.
So they do rooftop shows during the summer.
Oh, sweet.
And we're going to do one of those. So that'll be on May 27th. And yeah, Kix will have some stuff coming too. So
right on.
And then real quick, you touched on it a little earlier, but I think it's a phenomenal project. It's my dog's 6th birthday today, so I'm excited to get home to spend time with my dog. You're a dog guy. So you said your name is Wild. There's going to be more of that. Real quick, just explain what the project is.
Yeah. So Your Name is Wild is a project between my wife, Laura, and I. She is a visual artist. And so basically I do the music for the most part. And there's songs about our dogs. There's songs about other dogs. Just, do them. This is what the studio is for now, which is great. Yeah, it's just, we put out one record and all of the proceeds go to rescues, dog rescues. They are, incredibly hardworking people that are, doing this for their love of dogs and for their love of, communities. So we just thought, hey, if there's something that we can do to help, we're going to do it. And so I think the first record we raised about $1,000 that we were able to donate. And so hopefully the next one, which should be coming out in May, I believe.
Oh, cool.
Hopefully we can maybe double that. We will see. Both of our dogs, Lex, he's from James Bay in Northern Ontario. And then Perchie is actually from Russia. She was from the streets of Russia. They're both rescues. And yeah, we're just super appreciative of the work that these groups put into, not only bringing dogs, from these communities, but also going in and helping said communities with vet care, for people who do want to keep their dogs, helping them with vet care, spay and neuter clinics. Those are huge because that's the only way that ultimately the problem's going to go away. So yeah, just want to help out.
That's
Love it.
awesome.
Love it.
Yeah, good for you guys.
And the songs are fun. They're all like super consumable, like a good sessionable pale or IPA. They're all under like 2 minutes or so,
songs.
right? Like
yeah, they're short songs. There's a few longer ones on this one, but yeah, I'm pretty proud of this. I've been fucking mixing it for so long, but it's been good. It's a great learning experience for me, and we just moved out here last May. So I built out this studio, and being able to actually work in the studio is definitely a huge advantage and huge help for me. So I think it'll be something that'll sound better.
Sweet. Well, the first one sounded pretty great, so I'm looking forward to that.
Cool, dude. Well, thank you again. We really, really appreciate you making the time.
Thank you both for having me. Really appreciate you taking the time.
All right. Peace, dude.
Okay. See ya. Thanks, man.
Talk to you later.
Yeah.
Thanks to Jeff van Helvoort for hanging out on this week's episode of The Road the Stage. We've now completed the Van Helvoort brother, what do you call a dual fecta?
Conglomeration?
Sure.
Corporation. No, once we get dad in.
Oh yeah.
Then we can be conglomeration.
We've had PVH, JVH, and maybe DVH.
DVH.
Dad Van Helvoort. How's that work?
DVH, like DV8, DVH.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
Might be a band name there.
Anyways, thanks for hanging out on this week's episode of The Road the Stage. Listen to the Mr. Rabbit. Fuck.
Take two. It's not that fucking
Listen
hard.
to the Mr. Rabbit album out tomorrow.
He
That's
can
March
choose
30th.
fonts, but he can't speak.
We're keeping that in. Yeah, it's a really cool record, and I truly do think that it's got some very special things on it.
1,000%, and even more so, I'm excited to go back and listen to it now after having talked to him. But just, oh man, the trials and tribulations
Yeah, I know.
that these folks go through. And to hear that it's gotten to the point of it's just the love of the music
Yeah.
and the appreciation and understanding how much of a privilege it is to be able to make that stuff will make that, my next listen to it is going to be even more special.
It is interesting thinking back on our interviews and how open and transparent some of our guests have been about the trials and tribulations of the industry. Sometimes I'm realizing that you're still in a position where you have to posture yourself as successful, right? That's part of the branding in some cases.
Yeah.
You don't want to come on here and say, it's fucking not working out.
Yeah.
Spent this much money, this much time, and no one's listening to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. That would be a huge mental struggle, would it not? It
Massively.
would be exhausting.
Totally. Yes. But it seems like he's gotten to a good place with it.
Oh, 100%.
Most
I'm not.
people
I'm
that
not,
we talked to get
yeah.
to, but it, again, like we kind of mentioned, you have to go through
Yeah.
a bunch of that shit to get to the space where you are now, where you know how to put the expectations where they need to be,
Yeah.
and just kind of, compartmentalize all of it.
I always appreciate the honesty of these brothers.
Does that Sate recording still exist?
Yeah, I do. I found it the other day.
You do
actually.
have it.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't listen to it, but I had just had to rebuild my PC. So I found it on an old hard drive.
Izzy's.
And yeah, I was tempted to listen to it, but it wasn't. The interview was great. It was just the story of recording in California.
Yeah.
It just sounded like a fucking nightmare. And yeah, I would be pretty shattered after that too, but it doesn't matter now. 2023, brave new
I was
world.
just going to say, it can be a nightmare, but you learn to persevere, get through. And I thank Izzy for that bark because it's a nice little
Reminder
I
that
love
it's time to shut the fuck up.
I like the little dog thing that he's got.
Yeah, that's
going on. The
amazing.
dog
Very
project's pretty
cool.
cool. Okay,
Cool.
so
Link to that.
what do people do after they've watched this episode?
So you go on your computer and there's a thing called the internet. How you get to the internet is your choice. You're likely either using Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox. Maybe you're operating on a Linux system, so you're using Opera, something like that. You're going to go to the top, the taskbar. You're going to hit youtube.com, and then you're going to search Communal Creative Studios, and then you're going to see a button that says subscribe. Now, you might think, oh, they're charging me money. I got to get my credit card. Wrong!
No, sir.
Wrong!
No, ma'am.
How many times have we told you this? It's totally free. Hit subscribe. Boom, you're done.
But I will say Judgy McJudgerton will judge you on which browser you're using.
Yeah, and I've been nasty lately.
Very nasty. And you'll be nasty next.
Wednesday.